Hello, welcome back everyone, and good to see that you all have stuck around to meet our guest on the show this morning. Now, I was thinking how to introduce our guest to you and do justice to all that he has done, but then I was saved by the thought that perhaps you guys know him better than I do. You have been seeing him or following his work for a while now. He is no stranger to television or stage. It is perhaps thanks to him that we still have a healthy interest in Pakistani comedy. He is a true Desi at heart and a great propagator of clean humor, which is evident from his ventures such as Jat and Bond, Inspector Koji, and the recent brilliantly written Dali Ki Aayegi Barat, which he co-wrote with the iconic Bushra Ansari. But enough said, let's talk to the man of the moment, Vasay Chaudhry. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good to have you here.
Yeah,
are you a funny man?
No, I'm not.
You're not funny. So how do you come up with things that make people just crack up?
Because I'm very serious about it.
Oh, it takes a lot of hard work and seriousness?
I think it's a sort of a very cliched misconception about all the people who do humor, that they're very funny in real life. They are, but with people who are very close to them, that's what I've noticed. Generally, they have very serious thought process.
So people would meet you and have expectations that
they do actually. They do, and then they like, you know, a stranger would meet me and they would try to crack a joke, which if usually it's not a good one, but if it's a good one, then I smile. But I mean, it's not like that I'm cracking jokes or I'm I've got these one-liners with me all the time. Maybe with my friends and very close people I do that, but otherwise not pretty.
So Vasay, how does it work? And we are going to come to your work, but so you sit and you write, and the things that really make us go, wow, I mean, who could have said that, or they're so funny. You actually have to go through a thought process of jotting it down and the way it should be said and delivered.
Yeah.
That is how it's done.
That's how I like to do it. I think it. I don't know if I think it's an advantage, and at the same time it's a disadvantage, that because I act, so I try to put in that the flow and the tempo of it as well, which at times can be a problem for other people, and at times intelligent actors pick on that.
That's a good way of doing that, but then you don't know who's going to be delivering your lines either.
You see, it depends actually. At times we don't, at times we do. When I'm writing a play which I'm acting in, then I would know that who's the person, and at times even like there's a tentative casting done, so you know that a certain person is going to do that particular role.
So you draw on their strength as well.
Yeah, so I try to draw in on their strength as well.
All right, great. Now you've been in the business for quite a few years, almost 10 now?
Yeah. 10.
Okay. Dali Ki Aayegi Barat, I think obviously people have seen you, they've seen your work as well, but this one was, if you correct me if I'm wrong, a major breakthrough as well.
Yeah, it was. And it was also my first serial.
Your first serial, exactly. That I think enough said over there. Did you really expect it to be as big as it turned out to be?
No. I think none of us, because I can say for the directors, Marina Khan, Nadeem Beg and me, we were just trying to do the play, and because we were caught in this kind of a time frame where we really wanted to finish the play and it had to go on air, and I was writing and then there was just shooting and everything, so we didn't really have time to think about any such feedback. We just wanted to save ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, but you write and then you expect it to be done in a good way, but everything just gelled in.
I think
the directors,
the expectation
the actors.
of actually doing it in a good way. I mean, that place I was pretty sure, because we had a great cast from
very strong cast.
Sabah Hamid to Samina Ahmed, Javed Sheikh Saab, and then Bushra Ansari, and even the younger ones, and then I knew that there were two very good directors to look after that whole element of acting. So we did our part, I think. Then
you
it just
enjoyed
worked.
it?
Yes, actually I enjoyed it a lot more watching it. I enjoyed watching it, I think. Because while I was writing it, there was a lot of pressure, because as I told you, we were really short on time. So there was a lot of pressure. So I wasn't really thinking about the enjoyment part, then I just wanted to get the job done.
But I must say one thing, that your comedy, your script, it seems to have matured a lot in this one.
See,
I mean,
I'll tell you,
there's
a slight now when people give their feedback, and they're very open about it, and it's a very uncensored feedback that they give. They don't really trim it up. Very few people do. So with Dolly, they always say, you know, it's a bahut maza aaya and, you know, it's a great comedy and all. But it was not just comedy. Because if you take out the comedy bits, which is Huma Chaudhry's character, out of a 38-minute of an episode, she was only there for 12 minutes, 30 minutes. The rest of the 23 to 24 minutes were all the rest of the people who had their very serious tracks.
Right.
It was just that it was dealt, you know, and then again credit goes to Marina Khan and Nadeem Beg that it did it in such a light way that it wasn't the typical, you know, I mean, even Huma Chaudhry, her husband had gone for a second marriage and all.
Exactly.
If it would have been done in any other play, there would have been a whole, you know,
melodrama going on.
And all that kind of stuff.
That, but that is the beauty of this play, and obviously you wrote it. I must identify the beauty of it, that it was very realistic. You know, the highs and lows go hand in hand in life.
It was very old PTV.
Yeah. Yes, and there was a flavor of that.
That was the target we wanted to achieve. Because it's a very old school. You see, Marina ji is, you know, she has worked with Saira Kazmi.
Kazmi, exactly.
So that school of thought comes in naturally. So the idea was to actually go there.
Okay, Vasay, we have something that we would like to play for our viewers, and from Dolly, of course.
Oh.
Okay, this is the last scene that really got us talking, so we are going to talk about this as well. And it's, you know, of course, you were the writer, you were a major part of this project, but it's so wonderfully shot as well. It's everything just
the production, everything. I mean, I think we all tried to do our bit. And by this stage, we knew that where it was going. So
yeah, exactly. After, you know, you knew that, okay, fine, we've done a great job. Just a little bit of this we are going to play, because we really need to ask you a couple of questions about it. So, what happens after that? Now, I understand that this Dolly as it is a sequel to another.
Yeah, it's a sequel to Aazar Ki Aayegi Barat.
Aazar Ki Aayegi Barat. Now, in this as well, when Dolly ends, there is this whole scene where this one character comes back and everybody's turning and looking at her, and that is where actually the series ends. So, are we looking for another?
No, I think this was the second last episode, and there was an episode after that where they get married, Dolly and what's the guy's name? Dolly and Nabil.
I can't believe you wrote it.
There were the 20-some characters. Dolly and Nabil get married. So I think that is where when Dolly says, I think Huma Chaudhry says that I want my daughter to get married to Nabil. That is where it ends. So, yes, the question was...
Yeah, my question was, still there is an open ending. I mean, it doesn't feel, and I'm sure that you would know it because you wrote it like that, it feels as if there is more to it.
I can only say, let the feeling grow.
Then there should be more to it. No, you have to tell us if you're writing anything.
Let's see. Well, there is something. Right now, we're just observing the plays that are being made on these sort of lines. I guess, no, but we actually thinking of something.
We managed to squeeze something out of him.
I actually can't tell you the whole story, but yeah, wait for next year.
Okay, you know, you're an actor, you would know. I've done this a long time myself. Sometimes facial expressions are enough as well, and we think that we can look forward to something there. So that's good.
Yeah, well, especially when you're under contract, you try to use the facial expressions.
Exactly.
And hope that the other person
I didn't say
understands.
anything, it just came out naturally. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, you wrote, I was reading one of your interviews somewhere, and you said that the two things that are crucial to my writing are to ensure that no content is vulgar, very good, and religiously controversial.
Yeah.
So you actively make sure that even if there is a humor element in there, but I'm not going there.
Even if there's humor, there's drama, these are the two things that I don't want to fiddle around with. Otherwise, I don't mind anything. Any sort of topic, any idea. But these are the two things that I don't want to touch, because people usually go for these kind of things. And, you know, in the name, even in our country, in the name of art, they usually try to fiddle around with these religion, sexuality, and these kind of things. And I'm not the sort of person. I'm very old school, so I try to keep it clean.
Yeah, we'll talk about your old schoolness there. But right now, Vasay, sit with us. We are just going to take our viewers to this breaking news. We have visuals of the crash site. There was a plane crash just a while back before we got into the show in Karachi. We told you that so far 10 bodies have been recovered from the crash site, and we have some visuals coming up that we had promised you that we would be giving you as much news and information as possible on it. Let's see if we have anything. All right. Okay. Well, that's it. It will be coming in a bit, so we will show you that. Okay, coming back to your old PTV style. Okay, you were right about Dolly being very refreshingly something from the past.
Yeah, Dolly in specific was something, it was even shot that way, and the actors were made to act that way. But I mean, even as far as I'm concerned, that's when I said the old PTV school of thought, it's basically my own thought process that I want it to be like that. Because I personally believe that in Pakistan we don't have any rating system in our television as yet. So if your program right now is being watched by a 70-year-old person, even a 7-year-old is watching it.
Yeah, if the whole family is to sit together
There's
and
no
watch.
viewer discretion, and I have grown up like that. I have seen television with my family. So I don't want any child or any girl sitting with her father watching a Pakistani play and then, you know,
be embarrassed about it.
Be embarrassed about it, or the father be embarrassed about it. I try to do my best. I don't know how much I'm successful about
That's a very conscious effort, and that's quite a responsibility that you take as well, because right now if you went beyond it as far as you wanted, that would also be quite acceptable, because media has really opened up that
you
way.
have to keep in mind while doing television that it is television, it is not cinema. It is not theatre where you go by your own choice.
Right, right.
You know, that's your choice if you want to take your family, or if you want to go yourself and whatever, you know, you end up watching in that film or in that theatre performance. But television is something that is in your house. So it's a completely different set of rules, I personally think, that you need to apply, which I think in Pakistan we don't apply nowadays. We take way too much liberty out of this whole democracy element. And
true.
We are really taking that for granted.
Okay, that's amazing. That is the insight from a man who writes so well, and that is probably why there is such genuineness and sincerity in what you do, right? There is, you know, that responsibility that you have to give something which is solid.
The responsibility has been there from day one, actually. Even when I used to do theatre, that has been there. But I just feel, I mean, when I'm, you know, you grow up and you realize that television is way too personal, so it's right there in your face. You've got to be very conscious. And you are living in Pakistan. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm not. Let's be honest. I'm not living in, you know, America, or I'm not living in Europe that I can do whatever I feel like. I'm that sort of a person. I don't want to do that.
Great. I mean, that is amazing. I'm going to ask you about the place. Are we going to the visuals now? All right. Okay. Vasay, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Once again, we are going to be showing you the visuals, because we were trying to determine where the crash actually occurred. This is in Karachi, and the visuals have just come through. And once again, if you are just joining us, this is a crash site where a very small plane, a Cessna, has crashed in Karachi, and 10 bodies so far have been recovered. We are being told that there were 20 in total in the plane. 20 passengers, including the crew. Vasay, this is another thing. There are tragedy after tragedy in Pakistan. I mean, there are natural calamities, there are, of course, man-made calamities as well. I mean, our political system in itself creates a lot of upheaval. Now, things like these as well. So basically, I'm being told that 22 people have died in this crash, and 10 bodies have been recovered. Okay, so this is it. Wanted to bring it to you because we promised you that we will be giving you updates on that, but it's difficult, you know, balancing Vasay sitting there with some realities happening, you know, over here as well. But we were talking about your writing style, you know, the way you write, the responsibilities involved with it. You did theatre as well. In fact, that is what you started off with. I want your take on the Pakistani theatre. I mean, the English theatre, which is really blossoming, blooming as well in Pakistan, and then the Urdu theatre, which used to be really strong at one time. I remember when I was growing up, we used to watch Urdu theatre on, VHS videos. We used to bring them home. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, because they're DVDs now.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is where the humor comes in. No, but you know what I mean.
Well, yeah. You see, the certain type of theatre is still working, and I think the Urdu theatre is also making a comeback. I think Napa is doing a great job in Karachi, and otherwise even you see Nida Bhatt, Sharabil, Umair Rana, then there's some people in Islamabad who are doing the English theatre. So everyone is trying to do their bit, and it's going to take some time, but I think they're trying, which is a good thing. You see, the thing about theatre, and then of course there are people like the regular people like Ajoka and Rafi P, which have been doing it for so long.
Yeah, that is some real serious.
Theatre as it is a slightly, it's a sort of a novelty now, and you can't expect it to be on the same production level in terms of producing plays as compared to television or any other medium. I think that goes worldwide.
Especially about the English theatre scene, you said that there is this whole marketing gimmick English play which is elitist theatre.
Yeah, it is elitist theatre.
What did you mean by that?
By that I mean that you do a play, and basically you do an English play, and it's for the audiences, the urban audiences, and even by the urban audiences I mean people living in cities. I mean a certain sect of the people, those people would come and would be able to get to watch that play. And the elitist it is because this is a personal experience that I went to a sponsor, and it was a play that I did last year, Inspector Koji. It was an Urdu play, but the sponsors told me that we won't sponsor your play because it's in Urdu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is in Pakistan.
This is in Lahore. Yeah, I was doing in Lahore. Yeah, and exactly, and that was my point, that if you are doing a play, if you're selling your product, this is for those, the company that was supposed to sponsor that, if they're selling the product for a nation which has the national language is Urdu, then might as well sponsor something in Urdu as well.
Right, right.
But that was the elitist attitude towards it.
No, I can imagine obviously then that those sentiments would have come out on the show. But right now, this is it from TMS. Hello, welcome back. How are you? Okay, now if you are a keen follower of TMS, you would know that we do our best to give you a melodious end to the week, and we are trying our best today as well. Okay, I first saw our guest in action when she performed to a rather large audience sometime last year, and believe me when I say this, she rocked the place. The second time round, Lahore witnessed her, and I'm sure I'm missing out a lot of performances in the middle. She was in the musical Mamma Mia, where she played the lead role of Donna Sheridan, keeping in mind that comparisons with the great Meryl Streep, who recently played the role, would be inevitable. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. She's a lawyer, she's an entrepreneur, she is a jazz vocalist. She is none other than the indomitable Kiran Chaudhry. Hi, Kiran.
Hi,
how are you?
Good, very well. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Kiran, I was thinking in the morning that I would be introducing you, and you have done so much. You have acted as well on stage. Who are you? What are you? Describe yourself.
What am I? That's a good question.
Yeah, why not start with that?
I haven't had that one in a while. Well, I guess, it's funny. A lot of people ask me this. Are you a little confused? You haven't figured out your path in life? You like being a lawyer, you like being a businesswoman, and now you're doing some acting, and you've been a singer before. And so what's really going on? What's up with that? Well, I think, life presents us with so much choice. We're lucky that so many avenues and opportunities are open to us today, being the kind of younger generation. And I think that it's a kind of lust for life, to be able to experience lots of different things in life and to be able to...
So you're lucky that you actually get to do that.
Yes, I am, but it's also a choice. And I think that, you know, sometimes people make very narrow life decisions, which is fine too. If you want to, you know, be a lawyer for your entire life and excel at that, that's fine, that's great. But, you know, if it's more a means to an end, which it was for me, I wanted to gain a good qualification, and I wanted to go to university and, you know, tick all the boxes and you know, make something of myself. But then I didn't think that that was going to be enough for me for the rest of my life, and there were all these other passions which I hadn't really pursued. So for me it was, okay, what else is out there? And you know, the minute that I'd kind of become a bit more financially independent, I started to really decide to choose other things in life, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, but what did you choose? Because I understand when people do a lot of stuff, when they sing or they act or whatever else they're doing, there is one thing that they, you know, feel at home with while they do. Maybe it could be performing to a crowd, maybe acting. What is it that you, when you're doing it, you're like, okay, this is it, this is me, I'm loving it?
Well, I think the singing for me is the kind of focus of my performing. But you know, singing and the performance aspect of it, it's not just taking a certain voice out of your throat. You know, it's emoting. It's coming from that emotional place where you are translating your emotion into sound. So unless you're acting, you're not going to be very good at translating it. So, you know, the two are overlapping. So I feel this with a lot of the performing arts, that, you know, you really need to learn to act if you're going to be a good performer.
If you have to be convincing about it.
Yeah. You have to feel. You have to feel.
And I'm sure that must help you a lot while you perform as well, because you do, you know, like you were in Mamma Mia. I'm sure that you were singing, but you were also acting out a role.
Absolutely.
So it goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. And I feel that, you know, having the acting allows you to really get into the emotion of the character and to sing and to deliver that song.
But Kiran,
better.
I'm glad that you're here and I can ask you, how do you concentrate on the singing bit of it then? While you know that the next scene is going to be like this, okay, this is what's going to happen, and this is the, you know, this is what I have to sing. How do you divide your attention to both the things? Because it requires attention.
Absolutely.
You have to keep the tone, the pitch, everything right, and then you have to also look a certain way.
Well, this is multitasking, you know, and this is what makes an all-round performer. You know, you do have to have a bit of your attention in the acting, a bit in the singing, how do I sound, and a bit in how do I appear.
And you have to be at a certain place. You can't, you know, go anywhere, run around or whatever.
And sometimes there are choreographed dances just thrown in there. So we are dancing and singing and acting and thinking about, you know, the stage setup and light kahan pe mere par aa rahi hai ki nahi.
Exactly.
So, so the brain is very active. In fact, I think that to be a good performer, you need to be very bright and very intelligent, because you're doing lots of different things and very focused. So you're able to really concentrate and not be scatterbrained.
At all. I mean, that is all that you are thinking about at that moment.
You're totally in the moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
No wonder that you were so appreciated in that play. Now tell me, you're back from a workshop in New York.
I am, yeah.
You went there to polish your skills, basically.
Indeed.
Tell us about it.
Well, it kind of all started off, Made for Stage Productions that put up Mamma Mia. They did a kind of workshop with an American theater company that was here called American Voices. Now, American Voices was a group of 3 people. There was a choreographer for dance, and there was a vocal coach and an acting coach, and we for the first time as an ensemble got training in musical theater. It was over 3 days in Karachi, and I got a flavor of what it would be like to get training.
Right.
And it was amazing because none of us have been to school for this stuff. We were just kind of
you learn on your own, on the job training, basically.
Exactly, which is great. No,
equivalent to experience,
absolutely,
basically. I understand that.
But having said that, when you have a little bit of experience, then you go and you learn from the teachers properly. You take notes and you figure out, and these people are the best at what they do. And suddenly, you realize, oh my God, there's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And for me, I wanted to kind of, take my development to the next level. And I feel in Pakistan, the avenues in the arts are still in their infancy in terms of teaching. And so I decided to go to New York, which is, really musical theater in New York is, it's the kind of, the biggest center for learning.
So basically, if you have to learn anywhere, that is the place.
Yeah, in musical theater, yes. It's got extremely vibrant musical theater scene. I mean, there's Broadway, there's off-Broadway. Like literally anywhere you go, people are singing, dancing, and acting.
That's right.
Everyone comes from all over the United States and the world to New York to make it in the theater world.
Did you feel that you just fit right in over there?
I wish. It's full of extremely talented people. So the way that it works in the United States is that, they spot talent very early on. So, they have like school plays and they see, oh, the 7-year-old, ये बच्ची, काफी मतलब उसको आता है थोड़ा बहुत गाना भी आता है. She's got a good voice. They see talent at 6 or 7 years old and they pick it up and they train it. So by the time these people get to college, they all sing beautifully, they all act fantastically, and they dance like dreams. I mean, they're so talented. They're doing ballet, they're doing tap dancing, they're doing jazz dancing, then they break out into song.
And they're confident about it too because they know that they are good.
Yeah.
ये भी एक चीज़ है.
And they're trained. They spent a decade of training before they come to a school like the one I went to. So when I arrived, I was a bit like, oh my God, So it's very humbling. And
so if you go to a place like that, and this is interesting, where everybody is already so trained and it almost comes naturally to them, how do you hold your own? How do you, do what you are there to do, learn, but also make sure that everybody knows that you are good? You deserve to be there.
Well, I think that you have to let go of the inner critic. Everyone has an inner critic which says that, I'm not good enough, or why can't I be as good as that person, or I'll never be, at that level. All of those voices, I think generally as an artist, you should just ignore. You're there to learn, and you should just stay in the present moment. Don't think about yesterday and tomorrow. It's futile. And use the opportunity to just absorb as much as you possibly can, work as hard as you can to get as far as you can, your personal best. Comparing yourself to other people makes you either vain or bitter. And it's not useful. It's a kind of, stupid way to
you are
things.
yourself, and you are an individual. You are going to be different from anybody else.
And you have your own path.
Absolutely.
I had to be a lawyer before I could become a performer. There are not that many other people who I, met at in my course that had that experience, and that makes me richer in some ways, more mature in some ways, more hardworking and diligent in some ways. So you have to kind of remember that you're unique and you have your own path, and it's okay.
Okay, I hope that our viewers are picking up these points, because it's almost like a training in life as well. I mean, even if you are not into music or anything, but you are your own self, and you have to keep that in mind in whatever you decide to do. How was that experience in New York? What exactly does this training teach you that you don't know already?
Right. Okay, so just a little bit about the school. So this is a program, it's a conservatory program. A conservatory is basically intensive training. So it's about 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do 3 hours of dance, which includes ballet, tap dancing, jazz dancing. Then you do acting training, vocal training, and then you do meditation and things like that, which help you develop focus and concentration. So it's a very, it's a wonderful way to spend a few months, and I was very lucky to get into the program. It's run out of New York University, so it's NYU, the Tisch School, which is a very famous school there. Lady Gaga went there, so it's kind of where a lot of the performing artists go. The summer intensive program for musical theater professionals is what I attended. So there are people from all walks of life. Some of them are already on Broadway, some of them are at college. So they're all at different stages in their career. So it makes for a very interesting group of people. Yeah. So the conservatory environment basically teaches you all the different disciplines required to be an all-round performer. I went there to basically immerse myself in all these disciplines: dancing, acting, singing. And, you know, it was 3 months. I was lucky to get a 50% scholarship on the basis of Mamma Mia and all of that. So yeah, so I took off and spent, you know, the summer in New York and had an amazing time.
Perfect.
And I would
so now
recommend
it. Now that you're back, do you feel that you are more or better equipped to do what you already were doing? I mean, you were acting, you were singing, you were doing all of that, but you feel that you are more confident to do it? You know that you can even do better than how you were before?
Absolutely. Because you see, confidence mostly comes with knowing that your training and your homework is done.
Right.
So, okay, maybe I'll get up in front of 20 people and sing and they'll be very impressed. But am I happy with my level of development? I cannot rely on other people. I have to choose my own challenges. I have to keep growing and developing. So the more training I get, the more focused I am about my own development. I know that I'm doing my bit.
And I think, in a sense, you will also be opening the minds of the people who are watching you. Because if you give them something limited and they have not been exposed to anything better, they're going to like you. But if you excel as well, their minds are going to open up with you too.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, also a contribution that you are making.
Absolutely. And, you know, people follow your progress. I mean, I've, you know, so many people came up to me and said, you know, your singing has improved so much in the last 3 years. And, you know, so they've been following the progress, and so people do see the difference.
Right.
I don't think, I mean, I think a lot of people think that, oh, kisi ko waise kuch nahi pata, you know.
To ye kar le, I know.
Like, that's not true. This is a very discerning audience, and people, you know, people see.
They criticize as well, and they appreciate
do criticize. And, you know, you are in the public eye. You must be ready to be criticized.
That's right, absolutely. You have put yourself there.
Yeah.
So you have to take it all in as well.
Completely. So you better do your homework.
Oh, absolutely. How about opportunities to perform here? I mean, you go, you learn, you have a passion for it, you want to do your best, but in Pakistan, do you get as many opportunities to actually display what you can offer?
Well, increasingly now the security situation is such, and now the economic situation after the floods is such that, you know, concerts and events are kind of on the decline, and it's becoming tough for people to, you know, have all these shows. So it's on the decline, I would say. But having said that, I feel that, you know, that means that we have to evolve and look further afield. And increasingly people should, you know, think of themselves as global artists. There's a very large Pakistani, Indian, Urdu-speaking community all over the world.
Right.
So the world is our oyster now.
So is that, what you're saying is that you would, you know, maybe not perform in Pakistan if there are not any opportunities, you would rather go somewhere else?
No, rather is too strong. I would say that I would love to perform everywhere.
Okay. So you don't want to limit yourself?
Anywhere else. I mean, you know, a performer is in the business of performing. I don't mind who is in my audience as long as they're having a good time. So really, and you know, we are ambassadors for our country too, and I feel that, you know, we are in a position where we can put you know, a nice face forward and be civilized and out there doing, you know, interesting, unconventional things. It's not a bad thing to be out there.
Okay, I'm glad that that's another positive thing that you said, that just because there might not be many avenues here in Pakistan to perform as you would like to, that is not stopping you from still wanting to learn more or wanting to excel in what you're doing. So that is great. You can go anywhere in the world, as you say, you want to do that. Now, Kiran, why do you want to be in a place, and I ask this to all performers, including myself actually sometimes as well, because we are in front of the cameras, you know, in front of thousands of people. You are in front of live audience. Why do you want to put yourself in a place where you know that people are going to be critical of you too? I mean, do you like that kind of attention, critique? How does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, I feel that, you know, you are what you are. If you're a performer, that's your gene kind of makeup, that's who you are.
You can't change it.
You're born this way. I don't think it's something you decide one day. No, it's who you are. And you are that creature that stands up and entertains. And that is a public service, actually. And it is a very unique and very privileged position to be in, I think. Because
so this thing that you do, this is not something that you discovered in you. You were not a shy girl in school or something like that. You were always performing.
Completely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember I have some poems from when I was, maybe 7, 8. I love to dance. I love to sing. I knew what I was.
Where you were going. Right.
And then you go into school and you get institutionalized essentially, and you do the right thing and you tick the boxes and you go to university and you're a good child, all of that. But if you're a performer, that never goes away. That is who you are.
Right.
And actually, law, I think, appealed to me because it's also high drama. It's performance. The art of persuasion requires personal charisma. It requires being someone that people, kind of listen to. And that's very similar to being, an entertainer.
Absolutely.
So
that's almost like an act as well, where you're trying to convince the other person.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. Perfect. Kiran, thank you so much for coming here. I'm sorry this is the time we have. Why didn't you sing, by the way? You have to tell, because I promised the viewers you would be singing. You did not, so you have to explain.
Well, in that case, the viewers are going to have to make sure that they watch Express,
of course,
constantly, because we are going to be back.
Okay, cool.
And next time I come, I'm going to be wearing not my acting hat but my singing hat, and I'm going to be here with my band as well, and we're going to basically sing for you. And that's because we're going to be promoting our upcoming album which is in Urdu.
Great.
So a lot of people ask me, "Aapko Urdu aati hai? Thodi bahut to aap Urdu mein gana ga diya karen, kya Angrezi aap leke
Okay, lovely. I'm so glad that you explained it yourself, because I was going to get a backlash because you didn't sing.
No.
Kiran, thank you very much for coming here and giving us some positivity as well, I must say.
Pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Kiran Chaudhry, for you. We are going to take a very short break. Yeah, stay with us. Hello, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed Kiran Chaudhry before the break. That was fun. I wish that she had sang though. Anyway, missed that. Today I give you the last one from that series. So roll drums, please. Roll drums, and the word of the day is... Okay, I'm already ready. Juggernaut. Yes, juggernaut is the word, and believe it or not, juggernaut is from Sanskrit and the original word is Jagannath. And I could give you a whole story behind it, but that'll take too long, so I shall just skip on to juggernaut and tell you what it means. It means any terrible force, especially one that destroys or that demands complete self-sacrifice. Interesting. Let me put it in the most obvious context. The army was unstoppable, a juggernaut. Nothing could halt its advance. I'm Huma Amir Shah saying bye-bye, and yeah, go out and seize the day.